Is it the end of the Bitcoin era for MicroStrategy?
No, it's the beginning of the Bitcoin era.
Bitcoin bull Michael Saylor has recently stepped down as CEO of MicroStrategy to focus more on Bitcoin. This move came out of the blue, and it has led to some speculation that Saylor was kicked out of the position after MicroStrategy suffered losses on its adaptation of Bitcoin. We've previously done a video on Saylor's decision to step down as CEO, and today, we will hear Saylor's take on this and an update on MicroStrategy's approach on cryptocurrency. Stick around until the end to know more. Before we begin with the video, we'd like to thank you guys for all the amazing support you've shown our channel. Stay tuned as we will produce more Bitcoin content soon.
We got into Bitcoin about 2 years ago, and it's been a story of great success. The stock is up 123%. We outperformed Bitcoin. We did 3x as well as any other enterprise software company, about 3x as well as any other big tech company. So the shareholder returns have been better than any competitive stock or any competitive asset class. And most importantly, our balance sheet has swelled. We've increased our enterprise value by more than 730%, in essence, from $600 million to $5.5 billion over that 24-month time frame. So now we've got to the next point in our development where we've decided we wanted to have a full-time world-class CFO. And we also wanted to bring one more person to the management team. So Andrew Kang joined us in May as CFO. Phong Le had been the president and CFO of the company. And when Andrew joined, that opened up the door for us to make Phong the president and CEO, and for me to move to the role of executive chairman of the company. Now, some people have written in the news that somehow this is related to our quarterly result or this large impairment charge we took in Q2. It's totally unrelated. The fact is, I've been working with Phong on CEO succession for about 4 years now, and it's always been part of the plan. We finally got to the point where we had Andrew, our new CFO, on board, and we could actually make the change and Phong could be CEO. So I think that the market's responding to the fact that now instead of 2 executives, Saylor and Phong Le, we have 3 executives. And it allows me to do what I like to do, which is Bitcoin advocacy, Bitcoin acquisition. I'll continue to provide oversight for Bitcoin acquisition as the chair of the investments committee of the board. I'll stay as the chair of the board. And it means Phong, who has been the president and the chief operating executive, he'll just be running the day-to-day business. And Andrew, who's world-class CFO, will be here to help us pursue all of our financial strategies.
With the shocking decision to step down as CEO, many wondered if it was the end of the Bitcoin era for MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. However, Michael stated that they have been planning this move for quite a while now. Michael Saylor explained how their Bitcoin investment had been a huge success, adding that they outperformed Bitcoin in market price and about tripled the performance of significant software and tech companies. Michael also stated that they had increased their enterprise value by more than 730%. Saylor shut down all rumors that he was removed due to their recent quarterly performance, stating that they had planned the move for the last 4 years. He says this move enables him to focus more on Bitcoin and to manage MicroStrategy's Bitcoin acquisition. In this next part of the interview, Michael directly addresses allegations that shareholders pushed him off of his position.
Just for the record then, to those who are speculating that you were pushed out of this role, is there any truth to that?
No. First of all, it's my idea, Emily. And second of all, yeah, some people say it's their idea. I'm the controlling shareholder of the company. I have the majority of the voting stock. And so I've been planning to place Phong as the CEO since we made him chief operating officer. That was like 2018. And we made him president in 2020. And at that point, he was running sales, marketing, technology, services, pretty much everything. And he was the CFO. And so that was his 2 years to get comfortable in that role. And we couldn't elevate him to CEO until we had another CFO. It's totally inappropriate to have a CEO and CFO as one person in a publicly traded company. So the catalyst for this is when could I find a CFO, and when would Fong have had the time to season in the role? And both of those things, the plan predates my infatuation with Bitcoin, Emily. It goes back that far.
To address the allegations, Michael Saylor first clarified that he holds the majority of the voting stock, adding that he had planned to make Fong Le, former CFO of the company, CEO since 2018. Michael further emphasized that he couldn't promote Fong Le to CEO unless they found a replacement for the CFO position, which is why this decision took them a while to execute. In a separate interview with Yahoo Finance, Michael further explained his move to step down as CEO.
What exactly you're going to be doing versus your role now?
Well, the CEO job is primarily to run a software business, and we've got about 2,200 employees at MicroStrategy and thousands of customers. I started that business 33 years ago, and I love it. But Fong, who is our president as of now, is a very good operating officer. And we've been working on a succession plan with him for about 4 years, making him first chief operating officer and then president about 2 years ago. And when he was president and CFO. We entered into a Bitcoin strategy. Our balance sheet has swelled by billions and billions of dollars. And we decided that the best thing for the business is to bring in a full-time CFO. We did that, Andrew Kang, in May of this year. And that was the catalyst that allowed us to elevate Fong to be president and CEO. And I have been wanting to assume the role of executive chairman. So this is my decision, many, many years in the making. As executive chairman, I'm going to stay engaged in the business. Many people don't realize I'm the controlling shareholder of the company, so I'm the chair of the board. I'll remain the chair of the investments committee that oversees our Bitcoin acquisition strategy. And my primary role will be advocacy, education, and innovation, working on technology, leadership opportunities. And then Fong will run the day-to-day business along with the support of Andrew, our new CFO.
In this first part of the interview, Michael Saylor reiterated what he covered in the previous discussion, but moreover, he touched a bit more on his role as executive chairman. He stated that his role would focus more on advocacy, education, innovation, technology, leadership opportunities, and Bitcoin, while Fong Le would handle the company's day-to-day operations. With this sudden role change, people are asking how this will affect the company's take on Bitcoin.
No, we're as enthusiastic as ever. It won't change other than our goal is to acquire as much Bitcoin as we can and hold it forever. We started this strategy on August 11th of 2020. And in those 2 years, our stock is up 123% through August 1st. So we outperformed Bitcoin. We outperformed every major asset class. We're 10x better than the NASDAQ. We outperformed all of our enterprise software competitors like Oracle by a factor of 3, like IBM by a factor of 10. And we have managed to increase the enterprise value of the company by 730%, from $600 million to about $5.5 billion in that time frame. So the strategy is a big success. We're enthusiastic about continuing to both grow the business intelligence software company business and to continue to acquire more Bitcoin. This executive evolution will allow me to focus more on outgoing Bitcoin envoy and advocacy roles and corporate strategy initiatives, and it will allow Fong to run the day-to-day business as the chief executive.
When asked how his new role would affect MicroStrategy's Bitcoin strategy, Michael reiterated that it would not change. Michael emphasizes that their goal is to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. He further indulges in the positive effects of Bitcoin on his company, which he mentioned in the previous interview. Michael says his new role will allow him to focus more on Bitcoin. In this following clip, Michael Saylor is asked a question regarding the legitimacy of his take on MicroStrategy's performance.
If you're a troll or a cynic and you pick any two dates with a short enough time frame, you can find a period during which every asset traded down. If you look at year-to-date performance of every risk asset in the world, they've all traded down. So what you just said could be said to literally every single CEO in the world because they all traded down this year. The reason that August 11th, 2020 matters is because on August 11th, the company announced a Dutch auction to buy back $250 million worth of its shares. And we announced that we were going to buy $250 million worth of Bitcoin. On that day, the enterprise value of the software company was about $60 a share. And we had $500 million of non-performing cash. So if you look at the stock today, we have gone through this transformation from a $60 a share stock to over $300 a share. And we have converted a non-performing balance sheet into Bitcoin, which is the best performing asset in the last decade. So I think that for sure, since we embarked on the Bitcoin strategy, that is the thing that matters. The stock has been volatile up and down in the months that followed. So has every other asset in the world.
Well,
if you're a shareholder, you would care about.
Why? I mean, but if you're a
shareholder, you want the
Bitcoin
executive
enthusiast,
team,
and that's why you're buying it. Why not just buy Bitcoin itself? Why is buying MicroStrategy better than just buying Bitcoin?
First of all, our shareholders had a $60 a share stock. That's what the software company was worth. We turned it into a $300 a share stock. So what they wanted us to do was make MicroStrategy stock go up. So we have MicroStrategy stock has performed better than every other asset and all of the competing stocks in the space. That's the right thing to do for our shareholders. As for why you would buy MicroStrategy versus Bitcoin, that's left as a decision for the investor. Some people want to hold a commodity or a property, in which case they should own Bitcoin. But I will note that MicroStrategy stock has performed better than Bitcoin since we embarked on this Bitcoin strategy, because we took a levered long position and we borrowed billions of dollars at a blended interest rate less than 2%. So if you wanted to tap into the cheap capital markets in order to make a leverage long bet on high quality property, then Bitcoin would be a very favorable investment vehicle for that.
The interviewer asks Michael Saylor a heated question regarding MicroStrategy's market price performance. The interviewer insists that Saylor is exaggerating his company's performance, stating that it had performed poorly recently. Saylor answered this question by stating that nearly all assets traded down, adding that the interviewer's remarks could be said to any CEO worldwide. The interviewer then asks Saylor why purchasing MicroStrategy stocks is better than buying Bitcoin. He responded by saying that their investors started at $60 per stock, which they have brought up to $300 per stock. Michael concluded by saying that the decision whether to buy Bitcoin or MicroStrategy is purely up to the investor. In this next clip, Saylor addresses some Bitcoin concerns that investors like you may have.
A Bitcoin question. There's a cohort of Bitcoiners who have argued that to be a healthy network, Bitcoin can't sustain itself unless it reaps fees in some way. This is often likened to the fact that it has to become a currency at some point. And I realize that's anathema to MicroStrategy's current Bitcoin strategy, but I was curious to hear your thoughts on just sort of this topic, because if Bitcoin is a digital property, how exactly is it supposed to get development in the future? How do you see that unfolding?
The Bitcoin network is currently running on the basis of a combination of transaction fees and block subsidies, and the block rewards will go on to the year 2140. So after the year 2140, which is a long time in the future, we'll need transaction fees to compensate the miners. But the security is cumulative, and the investment in mining equipment and energy contracts is cumulative. So I don't think we have much to worry about with regard to what the fees are and their relationship to security until sometime in the year 2120 or beyond. As for do you need to move the asset for it to have value? No, absolutely not. For example, the property in Manhattan doesn't have to move for it to have value. The granite, if you own a city block in Manhattan, the fact that it hasn't moved in 200 million years doesn't have any impact on whether it has value. In fact, you would prefer that Manhattan be built on granite or schist that doesn't move for hundreds of millions of years. That actually makes the property more valuable. And Bitcoin is that, right? What you want is, you want to know that 100 years from now, there'll be no more than 21 million Bitcoin, and that the network will be secure and have integrity and no one can change it. You don't really need high-speed transactions. You can do that on a layer 2 like Lightning, or a layer 3 like Cash App, or Binance or Coinbase, and people do millions of those transactions every day, and it works just fine.
When asked about the need for fees for Bitcoin's value to be sustained, Michael Saylor says that this is currently irrelevant. He says that the need for payments to compensate Bitcoin miners will not arrive until 2140. With regards to security, he says that the third-party apps such as Binance and Coinbase already have millions of Bitcoin transactions with no security breaches at all. Throughout the course of this video, Michael Saylor explains his new role as MicroStrategy's executive chairman, which is mainly to focus on the company's Bitcoin acquisitions. Moreover, he shut down rumors that he was kicked off his CEO position due to recent losses over MicroStrategy's Bitcoin strategy. Additionally, he touched a little on Bitcoin and how it has benefited his company MicroStrategy. Finally, he briefly discusses the need for fees and security concerns regarding Bitcoin transactions, which, according to him, do not cause problems at the moment. What do you think of this move by Michael Saylor? Do you think it will be beneficial for MicroStrategy? Give us your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. If you enjoy this video, kindly like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.